Welcome back to Gran Turismo 7. As you can probably tell by the title, this was a really good race, so I just had to make a video about it. This was Daily Race C in sport mode, I did the other week. And this is a race in the Group 3 class on this fictional circuit here in Switzerland. Deep forest, 4.2 kilometers, also a 50-meter elevation change. So a very interesting circuit actually. It's probably my favorite track out of all the fictional Gran Turismo tracks. And one of my favorite countries as well, because I actually visited Switzerland in real life for the first time last year, and I definitely have a bit of an affinity with this country. But anyway, this is a fictional circuit because there's no actual racetracks in Switzerland. I qualified in P5 on the grid with a 1:28.0, racing in the Alfa Romeo 4C Group 3 car with a very nice black and yellow age-up livery. We've got Freyham's on pole position, followed by Mattia Zeta and Gal and Marcello. 4 Italians in the top 4. A couple of Porsches and also some Toyota Supras and Dodge Vipers by the looks of it. So 14 laps here at the Deep Forest Raceway, starting from P5 on the grid. We already get through the Porsche, and there's already 2 cars who collided with each other even before we get to the first corner. As we get through on one of the Italians, they're already up to second place. So we've gained 3 places before we even break down for turn 1. So that was a very nice start. Fortunately, we were able to avoid all of that. So we find ourselves trailing Mattia Zeta here, who leads the way. In a way, it was kind of lucky that we avoided that incident. Also that these cars took each other out, because they were ahead of me, obviously, in the qualifying session, as we have a bit of a slide there on the exit of turn 4, this S section here at the start of the lap. But yeah, we've got a couple of contenders taken out of the action straight away. So at the end of the first lap, Mattia Zeta straight away opens out a bit of a lead. He's currently ahead by 2 seconds. Though one thing to note here, you can see on the bottom left, I'm on the racing hard tires, and there's actually 2 mandatory tire sets to use in this race. Onto the next lap, again, Mattia Zeta slightly further up the road. But yeah, I decided to start on the harder compound to have the better tire available to me at the end of the race, and Mattia Zeta is actually doing the opposite strategy. So he's currently on the mediums, as now at the start of lap 4, I'm getting attacked by Aaron in 3rd position. He now gets the run on the start-finish straight, breaks down into turn 1 and moves up to 2nd. He runs it a bit deep though. We tried to get the cutback there on the Toyota Supra, but he just has the legs down the exit, and this is really not what I wanted. He completely slams on the brake there as we go into turn 3, and this is exactly what I didn't want to happen, because he's now completely holding me up. I was fine with him overtaking me as long as he was able to keep the pace up, but now he's just completely parking the bus, and this is really making us lose a lot of time to Mattia, who's just able to escape at the front. And you can see the gap is already up to over 4 seconds, as displayed in the red box there on the top left of your picture. Underneath the tunnel here for the 4th time, and then breaking down into the final hairpin. This is turn 14 on the track, a very tight corner, and that brings us back around into this downhill section towards the end of the lap. Here you can see the pit lane entrance as well there on the left. It's very easy to exceed the white line there, but yeah, we're gonna have to get past on the Toyota very quickly to avoid losing even more time, as the gap is now up to 4.3 seconds. Aaron there again defending well. I didn't really have the speed in a straight line here to really make an attack, and especially in the first sector it's pretty hard to overtake. 1:28.2 now. We are slowly increasing the pace. We've had 3 1:29s in a row. This is now the first 1:28. Keep Harland has actually got the fast lap with a 27.3, but he's probably on the mediums, as most drivers are. But I really opted to go for the different strategy here, to go with the hard compound for the first stint. Again, Aaron makes a mistake there. He goes a bit wide, and that leaves the door open here for me to go up the inside into turn 4, and it's us finally through into 2nd place. But the damage is already done. We're now in lap 6 of the race, nearly halfway, and the gap is now 5 seconds to Mattia Zeta in front of us. So at least we've got clean air now, and yeah, we'll have our work cut out now to close down that gap to the Italian as we go into turn 10, winding it back up again for this long straight as we go underneath the tunnel, opening lap 7. Again, I was actually driving relatively consistently, another 1:28, and we've actually closed down the gap slightly again to Mattia Zeta. Maybe he's now feeling the effects of the tire wear, with his medium tires now starting to wear out, and at the end of lap 7 he decides to come into the pit lane, and as shown there with the tire indicator, he was indeed on the mediums, which confirmed that he is doing the opposite strategy to what I'm doing. as we open up lap 8 of the race. We're now over halfway distance, another 28.6, so we are being pretty consistent here. A couple drivers behind him decide to follow him into the pit lane as well. The end of lap 8 here, I decided to react to that and also come in straight away to not allow Mattia to have too much of an undercut. So we will now switch to the medium tire for the final 6 laps of this 14 lap race here at Deep Forest. So it's going to be crucial to see where we'll rejoin the track and what the gap is going to be to Mattia once we exit out of the pit lane. So fresh set of boots to go under this Alfa Romeo 4C to see out the final stint of this race as we exit the pit lane. Mattia Zeta is already through. You can see him coming through turn 1 there. The gap is around 4 seconds. Fortunately, we have cleared Aaron. He's still 2 seconds behind, so we've got a bit of breathing space, and we can now fully focus on the attack. We've got a 3.6 second gap to close down with just over 5.5 laps remaining. So at the end of lap 9, we've already closed it down to 2.5 seconds, even at the end of our out lap. So we are approaching the back of that Porsche rapidly, and now halfway through lap 10, the gap is already down to under 2 seconds. So we've got such an advantage now with this fresher and softer set of tires, and we can visually see that we are edging closer to the back of Mattia here as we wind up onto this back straight for the 10th time in this race, running along the cliff edge here in this thickly wooded forest in Switzerland. We can almost get a slight bit of advantage from the slipstream there, even a purple sector there, as we now end the end of lap 10. Just 4 more laps to go after this one, and this is going to be the fast lap of the race, a 27.3 to beat. It's a 27.112, and we have well and truly closed up now to the back of the Porsche of Mattia. Although this is, like I said before, quite a difficult circuit to overtake. It's going to be tricky to get the run on the Italian here, because especially the section that we're coming up to now here, the end of the first sector, turn 3, 4 and 5, it's very hard to find an opening, and Mattia will definitely make his Porsche 911 GT3 as wide as possible as we edge closer here through this middle sector underneath the tunnel, and then powering out again towards this downhill section here, turning left. The front end always tries to wash away a little bit here, and then this slowest corner of the circuit, winding it up to the back straight. At least I think that's the slowest corner. Maybe turn 15 is the slowest one on the track, or turn 14 rather. Turn 15 is the exit out of that. But anyway, we've got the slipstream here behind Mattia. Is this gonna be an opportunity to maybe take over the lead of this race for the first time? We are slowly edging closer. We're gonna have a look to the outside here. We brake slightly later, although we are kind of on the wrong side there. Mattia does well to defend it. He keeps his car on the inside and blocks me off there, so there's no way through for me to get past at the end of lap 11. We're just gonna try and see what we can do. Also try and study him a little bit to see where his strong and weak points are. Nearly side by side as we open up lap 12 of the race. We're gonna try and look to the inside here. It will give us the benefit into the braking zone. This is really the preferred line. We nearly made contact there. I think we actually did touch, and Mattia actually keeps on the outside. He brakes very late into turn 1 and hangs on to first position. So great defensive driving there from Mattia Zeta. We do get a slightly better exit, but again, this part of the track is really not an usual overtaking opportunity. It's a very unorthodox place to make a move, so we're just going to stick back for now. Again, Mattia parks it on the apex as we go into turn 5. We are nearly pushing him through the corner as we go through turn 6 underneath the tunnel, and then going left again here for turn 7 at Just a Sim Racer on Instagram. So very nice advertisement there on the back of his Porsche. A nice plug to his social media account as we go into turn 9, exiting turn 10. Once again, winding up to the back straight here and trying to, this time, actually make a move stick. We're probably going to try and aim for the inside to have the preferred line into the braking zone. He just leaves enough space, nearly comes over on us. Again, a bit of a touch, but this time we've got the inside line as we break down into turn 14. Again, Mattia late on the brakes, but we've got the better line now with the tight line on the inside. Slight bit of contact, but finally we have managed to make the move stick, and we properly take over the lead for the first time in this race at the end of lap 12. Start of lap 13, just 2 laps to go, and now the ball is in our court to try and defend the lead of the race here. Just 2 more laps to hold on, but Mattia has now got the slipstream of us, and he's gonna make a move now into turn 1. I keep it to the right here because I didn't want to compromise my line too much. Mattia has got the inside line. We're literally almost rubbing elbows as we come through the first corner, still alongside each other, although it's going to be the inside line from me here into this short little kink, and that is just about enough for me to actually briefly take over the lead. But Mattia carries a lot of corner speed there through turn 3, and he once again takes the advantage back into the lead of the race. Although this is not too bad for us, because now this gives us the second bite of the cherry to have the slipstream effect again on that very long back straight in the run up towards turn 14. So we are very nicely positioned here, although this is still the penultimate lap. Do I want to actually take the lead here and actually lead as we get to this very same spot on the next lap? We will see how strong the slipstream is once again. This just confirms it. Look at the way we just easily creep up to the back of that Porsche in front of us. We're going to try the exact same move again. This time, Mattia leaves a little bit more space. And we will try and outbrake him once more here into turn 14. This really tight corner, which everyone hates. Again, almost a carbon copy move from the first, from the move that I did on the previous lap. Although this time we do again just about edge in front of that Porsche as we come along the back straight for the penultimate time to end lap 13. Just leading by 1/10 of a second as we start the last lap here in Deep Forest. Again, Mattia has a look up the inside. I'm not going to try too hard to defend it because I don't want to be leading coming onto the back straight on the last lap. So we're just going to leave the space on the inside. Mattia once again takes over the lead. He tries to almost squeeze me out a little bit of a twitch there as he tries to get on the gas. But again, a clean move from Mattia taking over the lead. We're just going to try and stay as close as possible here. A bit of a different line here to sort of open up this second bit. You can see Mattia took a little bit too much speed into that second part and compromised his line a little bit. A bit of look up the inside. We couldn't be closer as we go through turn 5 for the final time. But we're just going to bide our time for now. We're going to stick behind once more to have the slipstream benefit on the long back straight. However, we don't know how hard Mattia is going to defend. We also don't know how strong he's going to be in the braking zone of turn 14, because that's really the last overtaking opportunity of the lap. But this is it. We need to get a good exit here out of turn 10. We're well tucked up behind the Porsche here in the slipstream. We are again edging closer, gaining to the inside. Mattia tries to defend it. He just about leaves the cars with there on the inside. We go through, we take the lead, and we've actually cleared him before the braking zone. We break it into turn 14. Mattia really late on the brakes, but he goes in way too deep, completely misses the corner. We make the switchback, and this should seal the deal. We've got a bit of a gap now because Mattia completely lost all of the momentum there on the exit. As we go down the hill here for the final time, we're gonna do it. We've gained 7/10 here on the exit, and we're gonna win Daily Race C here after 14 laps at Deep Forest Raceway. P1 after an immense duel between Mattia and us there. What a race. This is really why I love the online racing on GT7 so much, because that was proper racing. Fair play to Mattia as well for fighting me in such a clean way. It was a really nice and fair battle for the victory. And in the end, we came out on top. We gained 4 places as well from where we started. And that's a wrap for Daily Race C here at Deep Forest Raceway. I hope you enjoyed watching that, because I certainly enjoyed driving it. And yeah, this race was definitely video worthy, so hope you enjoyed the highlights. So in the end, it's 21 minutes and 6 seconds, second in front of Mattia. It was 27 seconds to PJ in the Toyota Supra in 3rd place. So we were clear of the rest of the field, you could say. And some nice conveying of thoughts there in the chat between us and Mattia. So yeah, very enjoyable race. And because of his plaque on the back of his car, we actually started following each other on Instagram. So that's a nice detail. Anyway, this is where I'm going to leave it for this GT7 video. So thanks a lot for watching. If you're new around here and you're interested in other racing game videos, then feel free to subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.